Super Smash Bros. Melee isn't as good as you remember it. It's even better. I'm your man out of Japan, Jay Contra, and if you'd like more videos about Japanese retro game collecting, you can head over to my Patreon.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Old House Studio. I have here 10 GameCube games that I want to open up and show you, and I'll talk about the individual merits of each one as well as what I like and I don't like. Starting off, we've got the Japanese copy of Super Smash Bros. Melee, which will surprise you. This game came out in 2001. I forgot that this was a launch window game for the GameCube. And it's like, okay, we've got Super Smash Bros. Melee. It completely one-ups the Nintendo 64 version in every possible way. And it's so good that I don't think there was a Smash that surpassed it until the one that came out on Switch, which I think came out in like 2018, which it feels old now. But think about it. They just came out with this game and they're like, okay, now we'll make some games. We'll make some Smash games over the next like 2 decades. But really, this is just going to be the one that you want to play. Let's just call it for 17 years. They could have just not have made another Smash game for 17 years and they would have done perfectly fine. So we've got the manual here. The manual's not terribly exciting, but I love, this is my favorite color combination of all time. The red and the black. And so this is one of my favorite GameCube discs that I've ever seen. Remember, it is in mini DVD format. And isn't it like the GameCube or the Wii, one of them, or perhaps both of them, the copy protection is that it spins in the opposite direction from most mainstream DVD players? Okay, so there we go. Next we go up to another, this was a launch title for the GameCube, at least in Japan. This is Wave Race Blue Storm. This came out, what was that, September 13th, 2001. Not a very auspicious time for it to come out. But it's actually, I think it still holds up. I think it's still a fairly good game when you get down to it. This is, oh, by the way, since I probably talk about price a little bit when we're talking about GameCube, Smash Melee for the GameCube, if you're in Japan, is easily less than $10. There was a point a couple of years ago where it was maybe 30 or 40 bucks, but now I think people have moved on to the Switch version. I know the American version is like 50 bucks now, which is really surprising because I know Melee has always been sought after, but it was printed into oblivion. It should be very easy to find, although, I mean, GameCube games now are at absurd prices. Wave Race Blue Storm, by the way, is like $5. It's not an expensive game. I don't know what it's going to cost on eBay, but if you're able to get it in Japan, you can get it for quite cheap. I think I've seen this in the junk section a lot. We've got the 8 individual characters here. I think, I don't know much about the technical mechanics of this game. I've played it for maybe 4 or 5 hours. There's not actually many courses when you're first starting out. It does really ramp up the difficulty. Look at those chords, those $200 chords. Oh my God. It's still, I think it's fun. If you're just, it's a game that you play for a day and you're like, okay, I've enjoyed this enough. It's not something that I would put 40 or 50 hours into, although if you have, I completely understand, because not that I've played many jet ski racing games in my life, but Wave Race Blue Storm I think would definitely be up there. Also, I don't think I've even really played the original Wave Race now that I think about it. Or have I? I don't think I have. I know in Japan there was 2 different versions. Nice, beautiful, like these GameCube discs, these Japanese GameCube discs. I don't think I've seen one that I haven't liked. I love the designs on these things, and just the mini disc technology was. I remember this. If you want to get inside the Jay Contra baseball, let's go to Mario Party 4 here. My dad, for some reason, really got into mini CDs back in the day, and I'm not talking mini discs, which actually I have a mini disc player somewhere around the house that I'll maybe show on the channel one day. I'm talking about actual mini little discs like this that he got like a bunch to burn to, and so I think that's where I sort of, my obsession with the miniaturized versions of standard technology, I think that's where it came from. Now, the thing about Mario Party 4, it's another cheap game. I wouldn't pay more than $10 for this. But I think Mario Party 4 is where Mario Party as a franchise started to kind of go off the rails. It's not that great of a game. The mini games are fun, but when you actually get to the board itself, there's just like too much going on. Oh yeah, here we've got the... So remember, this is the first disc or optical disc based system that Nintendo ever put out. And so each game as far as I've seen, is supposed to come with this little pink insert that's telling you how you're supposed to use discs, as if people hadn't flocked over to the PlayStation, the Sega Saturn, and the Dreamcast. This is just reminding people who, I guess, are Nintendo diehards and did not branch out to other systems, this is how you take care of discs, because this might be the first time that they're encountering discs as a playable medium. But anyway, I think there's just Mario Party 4, it just tries to make too much happen at once when you're actually playing it on the board. I think Mario Party 2 and 3, I think that's really where it's at. I know those are expensive on the N64 again, although the Japanese N64 games are still quite cheap. Like, I think you can find them complete in box for like $10 if you're in Japan, which hopefully we can go back once this current crisis is over with. It's still a beautiful disc though. I love the pink, sort of the purplish, reddish pink with the nice orangey yellow stars. It looks great. And I don't think it's 4. I'm pretty sure it's not 4. I think it's 5, or maybe it's 6. One of these Mario Party games for the GameCube actually has a microphone attachment. Some of them were sold together with a microphone. I don't think it was this one though. All right, so next game. All right, here we go. So this is Dobutsu Bancho. If you don't recognize it, this is actually Cubivore. Now, Cubivore in Japan is like a $15 game maximum, maybe 20 if you're at Mandarake. But in America, this is easily 300. I remember I did the video a while ago about expensive GameCube games. Like, Gacha Force is $400. I'm pretty sure this is only $300. And the Japanese version, I don't think you need to know Japanese all that much in order to actually enjoy this game. So yeah, I think this was Ape wasn't involved in this game, was it? I know one of the developers for this. Yeah, Saru Brune. There we go. And so Saru in Japanese means like monkey or ape, and so that's, I think, just a little call out to the company that developed this game. Although I think Nintendo actually published this. Or they might have had hand in development. I'm not exactly sure. But if you haven't played Cubivore, I highly recommend that you do in one form or another. I don't know if I'd recommend spending $300 on it, but if you can play it through other nefarious means, you can have a lot of fun with this game. You kind of start out as like a 1 or 2. Actually, I think maybe this got the pig on here. Yeah, so you start out, and imagine this is only just a little pig. It's just got one little leg there. But eventually you just like start eating animals, and then you like evolve, and then you have children, you have offspring, and then your succeeding generations end up like becoming these huge animal monstrosities, and you've got to like fight the king animal of a particular zone, and then when you do, that's when you can move on. And there is no other game like Cubivore, and I don't think we'll ever see anything like this ever again. And if you haven't played it yet, it's, if you get a Wii and you hack it and you can find the ISO for this laying around somewhere if it fell off the back of a truck, I'd give it a play. I'm not impressed by the disc though. I mean, it's cool. Like, don't get me wrong. This looks really cool, and it's like 1,000 times better than most of the discs that you'll see for the Neo Geo CD. But still, yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's not as good as the Wind Waker CD. We'll get to that in a little bit. So let's put Dobutsu Bancho away. Do love the cover though. Love all of it. There we go. All right, next game. We've got Rune, which you might know as Lost Kingdom. It's Lost Kingdom or Lost Kingdoms. I can't remember which one it is. But anyway, this is a surprisingly good game. And I only say surprising because I am not really one for the sort of the card battle action games, sort of like your Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. I know there's a couple of others, but that's the one that really comes to mind. So you kind of go around, and it's by From Software, by the way, who made Armored Core and the Soulsborne series. It's really interesting where the music is really good. The graphics are that kind of like hyper-realistic early 2000s, so I don't think the graphics have aged very well. However, the gameplay is you just go around and you like collect all of these cards, and then you make like a deck, and with that deck you go into a level, and each one of those cards represents like an attack or a summon or a heal or a spell, and you got to know like what you're getting into, and you got to make sure you've got a well-rounded deck. And once you're in there, you can like collect boss cards. It's something that I didn't think I would like, but I ended up really enjoying myself when I played Rune. And I know it's this is maybe a $10 game in Japan. I think the American version is a little pricey. I know Rune 2 or Lost Kingdom 2, it's very expensive. It's more than $100, but you can get the Japanese version for like $20. So next on the list, we've got Resident Evil 4, Biohazard 4. Remember, this came out in, it's like 2006 or 2005. I want to say 05. Is that what that says? Yeah, that says 05 right there. This, we often forget now that Resident Evil 4 has come out for virtually every console imaginable in terms of its remaster. But Resident Evil 4 was an exclusive for the GameCube back in 05, 06. Oh, God, my short-term memory is so bad, and especially when you're filming these, it's very hard for me to remember specific details. I'm sorry if I'm getting that date wrong, even though I just showed it on the video. But it revolutionized the franchise. It essentially set the standard for basically everything up until 8, I want to say. It made everything action-y. I liked it for the first couple of hours, but then I found myself you're basically playing the same game over and over again, at least up until a certain point. And after I had killed so many zombies, that it just felt very repetitive. I'm sure some people in the comments are going to disagree with me, but I could only stomach this game for a few hours. And I love Resident Evil. I played through Resident Evil 1 and 0 on the GameCube at least 3 or 4 times a piece. But Resident Evil 4, I just couldn't get motivated. So back in the day in Japanese games, there used to be a survey card that was included with the game that you would mail into the company. You'd tick off a few boxes, tell them what you felt about the game, and you'd send it in. And you might be entered to win a prize. You might get some points for a club or something. This was the transition to the digital version. So this is telling you to go to capcom.co.jp and you can fill out your survey there. Well, I also love this little ephemera. Here this is when, we even got the poster right here. Yeah, so this is when Resident Evil 2, the Mila Jovovich series is coming out. It's coming out 05, 126 on DVD in Japan. What'd they call it? Let's see, Biohazard 2 Apocalypse. Aren't they gonna? I think they're gonna reboot this eventually. Although I think recently we got the Monster Hunter trailer with Mila Jovovich. But hey, I love Mila Jovovich, so I'm glad she's getting a paycheck either way. And then the limited edition. Jill Valentine Watch, the Stars Watch. I wonder how much those are now. I wonder if those are collectible at all. And then we got all these cool little. Those jackets would be cool. Oh my God, 25,000 yen. It's like $250. Look, that looks cool as hell. But I don't know if it's $250. Cool as hell. All right, thank you very much. Oh, I didn't even show the discs. So yeah, I'll love this red and black one here. The blue ones, okay, it's all right. Look at that. Oh man, I love that's the thing I think we lose from not having media anymore is I just love that little shine that comes from the discs. But yeah, 2-disc set. Not terribly many 2-disc sets that came with the GameCube. Ones that I can remember off the top of my head, really only Tales of Symphonia, now that I think about it. I don't know if there must have been other 2-disc GameCube games out there, but I can't think of any at the moment. Here we go, Homeland. Homeland is a Japan exclusive. This was sort of an MMORPG. Like, it's a game that you could use the modem with, and I think, can you see it on the back here? So it's like a little cutesy RPG made by Spike Chunsoft. It came out, I want to say, fairly late. I can't see a date on here. No, not immediately. It wasn't that late, at least. So it's got beautiful artwork. It's very reminiscent of like Wind Waker or those other cel-shaded games. And you just kind of like control a character and you walk around this world. You meet these cool characters. You fight some cool enemies. I love just the level design. It's really great, very thematic. And it's like some angel comes down and you're like a little kid in Japan and you like go into your closet and it's because this angel. It's actually not, I don't think it's a great story these days. Kind of scary, but yeah, there you go. There's the angel that like comes down and it's like, okay, just come into this closet and you get teleported to a magical world and you choose a character and you end up going around and you end up sticking a knife in a few people. Actually kind of horrible as I recited, but I don't think I'm actually doing it justice. You can use the GameCube modem. There's actually a version of this that came with the modem. I think it was only available online. And you can play it with, it says 1 to 2 people on here. I want to say it's more. I don't think it's truly an MMORPG. It's not like Final Phantasy Star Online, but it's a game that I think people really did enjoy. in Japan. I don't know if anybody outside of Japan really even knows Homeland. It was fun for the couple hours that I put into it, but I think it's much like Mario Party. I think it's going to be more enjoyable if you have a friend to play it with. But who these days is going to be playing Homeland? I played it for a little bit, but I think that's enough for me. So moving on. Oh yeah, Pikmin. Man, I was playing this the other day to actually capture the footage. Pikmin, it still holds up. This game is like 18 years old now. No, it's 19 years old. Came out 2001. Another, look at this. Like, just with these games alone, here, you know, I've got 10 games that I'm trying to show you. These games came out in 2001. And it's like, I'm not even showing you Luigi's Mansion because I got that in the other room because I'm playing that right now. These plus Luigi's Mansion, whatever you want to say about the GameCube could have just called it here. You've got some amazing games. Wave Race Blue Storm is pretty good, but then these are like tops. Like, and I've got Pikmin 2. I'm trying to I want to play it one of these days. Pikmin still, like I know Pikmin 3 is coming out for the Switch in a little bit. You've got the 3 different types of Pikmin that you lead around. It's got this like management and like almost like an RTS feeling to me. It was when I played. I feel like I'm playing almost like Rome Total War or something, where you've got the ones that can hold the bombs, you got the Pikmin that can go in the water, and you've got your sort of like infantry Pikmin that can go around and really mess up the local fauna. And I just everything about this game is great. The controls can be a little bit annoying. It's a little difficult to actually command the Pikmin, but if you were like transitioning from the N64 over to the GameCube, this game I think would have just blown your mind because there's so much that you can do with it that I just don't think was possible with the N64's technology. But the graphics still look good. It's one of those things where when you compare the graphics of, say, Pikmin to Wave Race Blue Storm, Wave Race Blue Storm doesn't look bad, but it's so realistic that when you've got the sort of cartoony graphics of something like Pikmin or like Kirby or the Wind Waker, those games that have the cartoony graphics just age so much better than the realistic graphics. And I wonder if I'm going to be saying that about like the realistic graphics of 2020. What are those going to look like in 2040? I bet they're going to look like hot garbage because that's what, whenever I see the realistic graphics of like the N64 today, I'm like, what were we thinking? And actually, that's whenever you see the GameCube graphics, I was thinking about this when I was playing Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube. I was like, remember when Luigi's Mansion was like, the graphics are never going to get better than this. Graphics are never going to get better than Kirbys Airride. This is weirdly expensive now in Japan. It's not the most expensive GameCube game, but it's up there. It's easily 70 or 80 bucks. I was lucky to find this at the price that I did in the mid 40s. And the high price is really shocking to me because there's actually not a lot of game here. Whereas with like Smash Brothers, when you're playing like the event mode or the classic single player or the adventure single player, there is so much you can do with this game. With Kirbys Airride, this is something I wanted to maybe even call it a weekend game, where it's something you play on like a Saturday or Sunday and you never really touch it again. But Kirbys Airride is just like, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. And especially if you could play it with some other people. I don't know how you're going to get 3 other people around your house to actually enjoy this game, but it's fun. But you play like the 7, so you've got Air Ride where you're like racing around 7 courses. It's very frenetic. There's a lot going on where you've got a lot of enemies on there that you can sort of absorb their powers. Like you can absorb like the fire power here. I loved Way Ride. I can't remember what they call it in the English, but this is where you're sort of, it's almost like you remember in the Mario Party where you've got the sort of the stock car racing where you're sort of like just going around a circuit? This is very reminiscent of that, and this is my favorite mode because there's no BS like with Air Ride where you're like trying to find shortcuts and stuff. This is just you're racing around a track. You got to get first out of 5 laps, and then it's just so good. City Trial, this is where you float around a city and you just wait for stuff to happen. You like collect all of these power-ups. You can find different like machines. First you start out riding a star. You can end up like riding like a motorcycle or like a scooter. It's fun, but especially the City Trial, I did not like it because it's like for 5 minutes, you're just going around the same city each time and you're just kind of waiting for an enemy to show up. I didn't enjoy. Yeah, here's all the different rides that you can end up acquiring. I think you start out with the star, and I think as you progress, there's like a little checkerboard that you can fill out with achievements. But I will say the disc does look pretty good. Pretty good, I will say myself. So let's put this away. The American price hasn't shot up that much. I think the Japanese version is more expensive. I think the last I checked on price charting, Kirbys Airride was like $30 or $40. So it might be one where if you're compelled to play this game because, say, you're a fan of Kirby and you want the American version where he's like a little angry Kirby, not the happy Kirby you see on the Japanese version, you might end up wanting the American version just because it's cheaper. And I want it. This is going to be the last game that I feature, but here we go. The OG Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. If you're my age, you will definitely remember when we saw the preview shots for this in the magazines like Nintendo Power or EGM. People were freaking out. They were like, what is this little kid Zelda? Like, because I think at E3 they had shown like a proper Zelda, sort of like a Twilight Princess looking Zelda. And people were like, yeah, I want that one. But who was smarter in the end? Oh yeah, it was Nintendo, because they ended up creating one of the best Zelda games ever. I think it still holds up. I would say I might like it more than Twilight Princess. I'm not sure, but I definitely like it more than what was the other one? Skyward Sword. I would say I enjoy playing this. Although the first hour is really rough because you're just running around that island, but it ends up getting really good, especially once you get on the boat and you can end up going around to different places. I really want the HD version that came out for the Wii U. Oh, and there's the Hyrule Alphabet. Whoa, oh, it's the Japanese version too. Hey, look at that. I didn't even know this existed. That's cool. I hope that's preserved on the internet somewhere. Oh god, the component cables again with the component cables. And while the gold American version looks really sweet, I just love this. It's so simple. It's so understated. It's got this nice sort of like blue-green that, I mean, it's not something you really even associate with Zelda. I mean, green you associate with Zelda, but not a blue-green like this. But that is looking real fine. Although the American version does look really cool too. So that's it. That's 10 GameCube games that I have actually played. I think I finally got my collection together, and I found out that I have like 32 GameCube games. So I'm hoping once I play the other ones, I can show them to you as well. Maybe you know, if you've played these games before, give you a little dose of nostalgia, and if you haven't played them, then at least give you some cool recommendations. All of these games I would recommend playing in, you know, I don't know if I'd recommend buying all of these games, but I think all of them do have really cool qualities, and I think are part of the reason why I'm actually coming around to the GameCube. I used to be a big N64 fan, but man, I think the GameCube has, I know prices are going up on all the big titles, but I think there's a lot of undiscovered stuff that I think people would really enjoy. I've been your man out of Japan, Jay Contra. Thanks for watching, and mahalo.